Hello, I am Anthony Giarrusso on this amazing 12/9/2020 at 8:20 a.m. This has happened to me a few times. I just want to let you know that there are times when I remember the duration of a dream, but I don't remember what happens in the dream. That's pretty unusual. But as I remember my dreams more and more, this seems to happen more and more. And I would say that the duration was probably at least 20 minutes. Literally a 20-minute duration of a dream that I can't remember. And I can't explain why I felt like it was 20 minutes of a duration, but that's what I feel like it was. Okay? What I do remember is after that duration of that dream that I forgot, I was with my family. Specifically me, my adoptive mother, my adoptive father, and my grandmother, who is my adoptive father's mother. Okay. We all walk into a very spooky looking old hotel. It was very well decorated and it was like filled with all these luxuries from like 200 or 300 years ago. Some might call it Victorian, but it was really old, really creepy. Had like a red rug. I remember that. It had these really old style square beige tiles that were maybe about the size of my hand. They weren't very big. And that was in the lobby. And the lobby was like partial tile, partial rug. And I remember the lamp. There was like a lamp, like a green lampshade, and like a bronze lamp post in there, and that was right on the counter of the lobby area. Very unusual. There was a lot of strange things. The chandeliers looked really creepy. They were all black, and they had like sharp points coming out of them. Right, the roof, or well, not the roof, the ceiling was like white and beige, and looked like there were cracks on the roof and all that stuff. Very unusual, but the hotel was packed in the dream. There was a lot of people there, checking in and out of it. The walls were kind of like different colors. Like in an area it was like dark green, or almost like an olive green. And then there was an area that was like dark red. I'm not really sure if it was wallpaper or if it was paint, but I don't know. Anyway, we get to our rooms. Or room. I can't really remember. I don't remember if the room was two separate bedrooms, or not two separate bedrooms, so two separate rooms, or if it was one suite with multiple separate bedrooms. I know it might be confusing you now, but I can't remember because we were all together, but I don't remember if we got two rooms side by side or if it was one room that was a suite with multiple bedrooms. Okay. Anyway, so we're hanging out, we're talking together, and they all want to go for drinks in the lobby because they drink alcohol, I don't. So they go to the lobby and get their drinks. I go down with them, but I go and explore the hotel. And I explored where the pool was. It has a really nice big rectangular pool outside. Nothing really strange about that. I went to the parking lot. The parking lot looks like any other hotel parking lot. Nothing strange about that. The outside of the hotel was made out of brick, kind of like a school building would be built out of. But I know a lot of older hotels kind of look like that, so that's not too strange. It was just the interior looked really old and creepy, like a haunted mansion or something, or a haunted hotel. Well, now that I said haunted mansion, there was a Disney movie that I remembered. And I'd say like the interior kind of looked like that, but it wasn't really a mansion. It was definitely a hotel in my dream. Anyway, So after I explored, I regrouped with my parents and my grandmother in the lobby of this hotel, and I tell them I'm going to go take a shower. So I went back up to the room, I took a shower, but again, I can't remember if we had two rooms or if it was a suite. I don't really remember. I just remember going in and taking a shower, and the restroom, everything in the restroom and the room looked pretty normal for a hotel. Nothing too exquisite, but nothing like crappy. It wasn't like a crappy hotel. It was kind of like a mid-range hotel. I take a shower, I get changed, and I can't really remember what clothes I was wearing before or after, honestly, in the dream. But I was wearing clothes. I think I was wearing a polo shirt, but I can't really remember. Anyway, I walk back down to the lobby, and I see this guy. Okay, I'm going to call him Mark. I'm not going to tell you his last name, but he was the father of a child that I used to hang out with. But it's so funny because I always felt like Mark was more of a friend to me than his child. And I'm just going to tell you that because that's a reality. That's what I felt for quite a long time. Anyway, so Mark is probably maybe about my father's age. He was a friend of my dad's, but I felt like I had a closer relationship with Mark personally. But that's not particularly that important. I meet him in the lobby of this strange hotel. And I'm talking with him. Oh, hey, how you doing? It's good to see you, all that kind of stuff. It just seemed very normal. Then we ended up walking out to the parking lot. And he used to own this white Toyota Highlander hybrid. I don't know if he still does or not. But it's kind of a weird vehicle. Like, why would you get a hybrid at all? Right, why a Toyota Highlander? That's kind of an odd vehicle anyway, but I'm digressing. Anyway, so we get to his car in the parking lot, and then he says, I don't want you to come and be with my family or even talk with my family. And then I said to him, I have no interest in talking or being around the rest of your family. But in the dream, so now I'm breaking away from the dream. This specific thing was really odd because it was almost as if Mark in the dream was giving me like a hypnotic command, or maybe there was an entity interfering with my dream using this Mark character to give me a hypnotic command. That's what I felt. But I didn't feel that in my dream. I felt that after I woke up from the dream. Okay, so this little thing where Mark said that to me and I said that to him, that was really odd. Then Mark walked back to the front of the hotel. I didn't. I actually went through the back way of the hotel past the pool area. I went the other way. And I remember walking past the pool, and I remember going in the back way, and I remember returning to the lobby. And all of a sudden, I can't remember what happened after that. Like, there was another duration of the dream that I forgot, but I knew the duration was there. And I would have guessed that duration to be closer to between 30 and 40 minutes of duration. Like, I remember this huge long duration was nearly double or close to double of what the duration that I had forgotten of the first part of the dream. Okay? Then my adoptive parents, even though I'm in my 20s, they enlisted me without my consent to a counseling program in my dream. The counselor that I met, and I met him inside of this counseling building, he was white-skinned, had a shaved bald head, but you could see where the pores of hair would be growing out of it, like those little black pores. And his mustache and his beard were non-existent on his face. He did not have any facial hair. But what was so strange, when I looked at this man, it looked like he didn't even have the genetics to have facial hair. Almost like this guy had never had facial hair in his life. He didn't shave it, it's just he could not grow facial hair. That's my feeling, and that was my feeling in the dream. Okay? I can't really remember the exact clothing that he wore, but he always wore long pants when I saw him. And I saw him multiple times. Then, me and this counselor go into a counseling room, and I see myself, as if I'm out of body, talking with this counselor. But I can't hear what we're saying. I can only see us moving our lips and looking at each other like we're having a discussion in this room. And I'm out of body at that time in the dream. Whereas previously, up until that time, I was in body. I think that's really important to know. And then all of a sudden, my dream flashes myself to where I used to work for a company called Securitas at the CVS distribution center in Vero Beach, Florida. Okay. Then the counselor showed up and introduced me to someone else I did not recognize. It was this administrator who worked at the CVS distribution center, and he was like this really buff-looking guy. He wore long sleeve shirt, beige pants, and the long sleeve shirt I remember was kind of like, I don't know why I could remember his shirt, but it was green, like a plaid green with a little bit of brown in it. And his head was very, like it was mostly bald too, just like this guy. But it had kind of like, almost like this reddish or orangey tinge to his hair, though. He had very short orange hair or reddish hair. And the counselor told me while I was at the in the security chair in the lobby, he told me that this was his assistant. So when he wasn't available, I would be speaking with him. Very unusual. But this other assistant, alleged counselor type being, was also a manager at the CVS distribution center in the dream. There was some duration, but it felt very short, almost like it was maybe only about a 2-minute to 3-minute duration loss of the dream. But I remember that there was a part of a dream there, but this was like a really short duration. It felt like it was only about a minute, 2 minutes, or 3 minutes of duration loss. And all of a sudden, I'm outside in like it's almost like a Mediterranean-like area where they have the cobblestone streets, and you can kind of see like the ocean nearby, but there's like all these little buildings and villas that are all white, like everything is white. And this counselor shows up and he introduces me to a boy who was younger than me, quite a lot younger than me. I'm still like 26 years old in my dream, and this boy, I don't know, maybe like young teenager, or maybe between 10 and 14, I would guess. and he had a very unusual haircut. Almost as if you split a coconut in half, that was his hair, and it would be black. Like a bowl cut. If you've ever seen Three Stooges and how Moe, the character Moe, has his hair, that's what this younger boy had. That black, dark, almost like a half coconut haircut. But the interesting thing is the difference is that the boy in my dream, his bowl cut or his coconut haircut went over his eyes. Moe from Three Stooges, it's obviously cut above his eyes. So I just wanted to make sure that that specific detail is there for you, my listener. Then me and the boy sat on this, it was like, how should I describe it? Almost like a really short wall made out of stone, but it was wide enough for us to sit on. And we sat and we talked about something. I don't know what we were talking about. And then all of a sudden we got an idea to go for a walk. And we walked down these cobblestone streets. Well, it wasn't really necessarily cobblestone. It was kind of like this more Mediterranean, like cobblestone type road. And they're very narrow. Like you could probably only drive like one vehicle down each one of these roads. And all the homes and villas and things are all painted white. And all of a sudden we get to an area, we're up on a hill, and I see three people. Two boys I did not recognize. And then I recognized the girl, though. The girl was in between the two boys, and they were looking at me and the boy that I was with. We were up on the hill, they were kind of down at the bottom of the hill, and there was like this little street road, and behind them was a metal railing that looked like it was a thick pipe railing, and then I think behind that would be like a cliff to the ocean, okay, or something like that, some kind of saltwater body. I can't explain why I knew those details. It's just what I could see, and I could kind of tell that it was saltwater body, but I can't really explain it. Like, I can't explain why I knew that, I just did in the dream. And the girl was in her 20s, but I recognized her face immediately. I'm not going to say her last name, but her first name is Brenna, and she is the only Brenna I have ever met in my entire life up until now. So that's throughout my 26 years, I've only known one Brenna. And I identified her immediately in that dream. And what's so unusual is I think the last time that I've actually seen Brenna was at least a minimum of 15 years ago. Could have been more. I mean, I haven't thought about this individual in a long time. Unfortunately, I know. How sad. But I haven't seen or heard from this individual in a long time. So to see and notice her was pretty unusual. And what's so unusual is that she was literally like as if she was 26 years old as well. Not like when I knew her when we were younger. Like she was grown up. And I'm thinking, this is really odd. Because I remembered in my dream that I had seen Mark, I'm not going to say his last name, over at the hotel earlier. I'm like thinking, that's unusual. And the two boys that are right next to her, with herself, Brenna, they walked up this hill. But what's so odd is I remember her glancing at both of us, almost as if she's trying to remember us, but it's like she can't really remember us. And then, this is the weirdest thing, that counselor shows up literally out of nowhere and takes these three people on kind of like a little bit of a tour. So me and the younger boy, we actually follow them a little bit, and then we go back to an area in front of this building which had glass doors, and we sat on a stone ledge that was kind of wide, like a short stone wall, similar to the stone wall that we were sitting on before, but I think this was a different area of either the same stone wall or it was a different stone wall, either or. And we sat by. Then, this counselor and these three people, the one that I recognized, Brenna, they walked and opened up these glass doors. And the three of these people walked in except for the counselor. And I waved to the counselor, and he asked me, "Is there anything else I can do for you, Anthony?" It was really, really nice of him to ask. I said, I think I said, "There is, but you're busy now. It's not that important. We can do this later." Or something similar to that is what I said. Or that's what I was trying to communicate in the dream to this entity. And the entity walked in with, right behind these, right through the glass doors, walked up and caught up the other three people. And for whatever reason, I thought to myself in the dream, wow, that's interesting. Almost as if I had found out some sort of secret about Brenna when she went in there with that same strange counselor guy and the other two people. Then, this red-haired lady introduced me to this blonde-haired lady who was, I'd probably guess, in her mid-30s to, in her 40s. A much better, more attractive-looking blonde-haired female with skinnier body. Can't remember what kind of clothes she was wearing, but she was wearing clothes. And then I was introduced to some guy. And this guy had these really, really thick, fat arms. But I wasn't really sure if it was just over muscular arms or fat or mixed. But imagine Popeye. Popeye the Sailor Man. His really strange looking fat arms. It was like that, but it was like skin with hair coming out of it, like a real person, but with really strange, not so human arms, like Popeye the Sailor Man. And he had this strange haircut and a strange beard, and his face was a little strange and kind of squished together, but it was just a very unusual face. It wasn't disfigured or anything. His face was not disfigured. It was just like squished together. It's just very unusual. It was very equilateral. His face was very equilateral, so not disfigured, but very like a crunched face. It's just kind of hard to explain. Anyway, so this guy and I have to go find cups for some reason. I don't know why. So we walk back down the hallway, the secret hallway that all came down originally with the ugly lady. And then we open the door, we cross the main hallway of the art museum. There's a door there. Okay? And right next to the door were some wooden cabinets. And we open up the wooden cabinets looking for these cups. And we can't find any cups. We're looking for the styrofoam cups, we're looking for the plastic cups, it doesn't really matter, we just needed to find cups. Okay? And we couldn't find any. So we open up this door, and there's that blonde-haired lady that I was introduced to before. And for some reason I felt like she was a guide to me through that part of the dream, or possibly the whole dream, and I don't know why. But when we open the door, I opened the door. The guy was behind me, or near the side of me. I can't remember exactly where. And this blonde-haired lady, she's got one of those paint rollers, like she's painting the side of a wall. Now I'm still standing on gray marble, but she's standing on this cut-in area where it's just gray concrete. And on both sides, there were shelves, similar to what you'd see like in a CVS or a Walgreens or a Walmart, or, shelves. But they were red, painted bright red on both sides. And they were filled with stuff. I don't know what it was. So she's it looked like a whole hallway. And then out in the distance, I could see another man with like brown hair. Can't remember what he was wearing, but he was wearing some kind of long pants or something. Can't really remember the color. And he was just doing his thing, but he was like about 300 feet down this hallway of concrete with the shells on each side. But he was kind of blurred out. Like it was too blurry and too hard to see from where I was. But you could tell that he was there. And I asked this blonde-haired lady that I'd met before, when I was introduced by that ugly red-haired lady with the wavy hair, where can we find cups? And she told us exactly where we could find them in a certain room. And we went to this certain room, me and this guy, not the lady. And the room is pretty much empty. And all of a sudden, somehow, Emily S. shows up. When she showed up in my dream, she was really happy to see me, and I was really happy to see her. Now, I want to explain something. This is an interjection. I have not seen Emily S. in about 20 years. I haven't seen her since elementary school. At least that's the last time I remember seeing her ever in my life. I don't know a lot of Emilys, but she's the only Emily with the last name that starts with an S that I know. But what's so interesting is that in the dream, she was not a child. She was 26 years old, just like I am. So she was all grown up in the dream. But I recognized that it was her, and she recognized that it was me. That's really key. And then what happened is this guy with his really fat arms, or whatever, over-musculared arms, and Emily, they both phase out just like a ghost would, where they, like, dematerialize. And both of them dematerialize in front of me. I see both of them dematerialize at the same time. And all of a sudden, this voice, it's almost like I'm thinking telepathic thoughts, but this voice is talking to me, and I'm hearing it from both of my ears. I thought about the ugly lady with the terrible fashion sense, and also the blonde-haired lady who I thought might be a guardian, and I said, or I thought, using telepathy, these two people were curators, and this voice said, wrong. And then, I forget what I said or thought next, but then the voice said to me again, wrong. And then I ordered the voice to say something else other than wrong. I don't think I asked it. I believe that I ordered it to say something else other than wrong. And it said, welcome. And then I either thought or said something to it, to this voice, out loud. And then it replied to me, be careful what you say. And immediately, I woke up. And I reported it to you today. So this was a longer dream. It was very odd, very strange. But thank you for listening. I'm Anthony Giarrusso. Have a wonderful day.